travelling light, one of those phrases that's chucked around far too often, I believe, just like cheeky overnighter. What makes an overnighter cheeky? And also what classes as travelling light? In an age where so many of us are using smaller rods, does using smaller rods class as travelling light? Now, travelling light isn't for when we decide not to take the AstroTurf bivvy mat. I don't have one myself, thankfully. Or whether you take the second or third guest chair and call it stripped back angling. For me, in my opinion, of course, it's taking the bare essentials to still get yourself fishing and nothing more. Firstly, travelling light offers convenience. Because you've got less stuff, it takes up less room in storage, and that transfers over to travelling to the lake. So if you've got a smaller vehicle like this, as you can see, doesn't matter that I've not got as much boot space, I can fit everything in there I need with no issues. This also allows you to use public transport if that's your only option of transport, or that's what you've got accessible to you at the time. However, today I do have my VRS, so I'm going to be using that. That's not an overdub sound, promise. Okay, yeah, it's still a Skoda diesel. But most importantly, travelling light should be exactly that, travelling light. If I was to rock up here with a wheelbarrow, for example, one, that's going to take more time to load it all up, but I may not be as inclined to walk as far, especially if I get down there and the fish are really far away, but it's a big old lake and I'm weighed down, I may settle for a less desirable spot. As you can see, rod bag on, 2 hands free, one for the unhooking mat, one for a bucket of bait, and I'm good to go. Also, not every venue is overly accessible, and not all venues can take barrows. And some venues decide to have gates like this, which are definitely not barrow friendly. But although it's still a pain in the arse, I can get around all right when travelling light. And lastly, when you're at the lake, there are no excuses not to be mobile. Say you set up in a swim, you like the look of it, but it just doesn't happen, and you need to move. There's no excuses to pack down and move as quickly as possible. You're not held down by chairs, bed chairs, bivvies and all sorts. Bare essentials. You guess what I'm about to say next. Travelling light. Having said all that, you still need the essentials, and with me today I've got the Sonik Xtractor Rod Sleeves. There's a whole load in the range, which I'll get onto in a second, but that's allowed me to bring all the essentials I need to get fishing safely and efficiently. So let's show you what I brought. Before we carry on with the video, please do make sure you're subscribed to us and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads, and also follow us on all the social media platforms coming up on your screen right now. So to start with, I've got an unhooking mat. Of course, this doesn't fit onto the rod sleeve, so it's not really to do with this, but it's an essential part of kit that you need to bring with you. So regardless of how light you travel, that should always be an important one. What I'm sat on is my bucket of bait. I've got some spare rigs in there, spare components, all my bait needles and things like that, hook baits, and I've also just got some PVA stuff in that. So all the stuff that I would normally have in a bag, in a rucksack or something, all fits in my bucket all in one. Then we move over to the rod bag. Now with me today, I've got a single sleeve and a 3-rod bag for 9-foot retractable rods. Now, although I've got 4 rods on here, it's purely to show you what you can do with this system. I'm on a 2-rod venue, so I should have come with a 2-rod rod sleeve, but I'm just showing you what you can do with this system. So to start with, I have the individual sleeve on the outside. Now, Sonik sell these Xtractor rod sleeves in a 6-foot version, a 9-foot version, and a 10-foot version for the retractable rods. So there is something for everyone there. It really simply attaches top and bottom to the other sleeves and rod bags and things with Velcros like so. So simple as that. I've now taken off a spare rod. I'll come back to this in a second when I talk materials and things. But then we move over to the 3-rod 9-foot rod bag. Now this is what I've gone for because I've got a 3-rod set, but you could easily go for the 2-rod bag and then get a single sleeve for a 3rd rod. So then if you come to a 2-rod venue like this, you just bring your 2-rod bag, and then if you go to a 3-rod venue, you could stitch on the 3rd rod, and well, it's pretty obviously self-explanatory. Morning swans. But that doesn't mean that you can't take lots of stuff with you. So I think you'd be pleasantly surprised how much you can fit on here. So on this side, there is 3 holes for bank sticks and things. So I've got my buzz bars and alarms and that strapped onto this side. Flip round to here, I'll undo the handle. 2 different ways to carry this, of course. You've got the carry handle and the shoulder strap. And on the inside, you've got some buckles, which sort of opens up it's not really a pocket, but it's the inside of the, or the outside of the inside of the bag, if that makes sense. There's a big sort of opening at the bottom so you can put larger things in, and I've got my waist sling and retainer sling there. So you could easily put maybe a long and hooky mat in there, or an umbrella, something like that. So it's a nice usable bit of space. And you've also got some little retainer straps in here again for maybe net poles, bank sticks, stuff like that. So that's a really handy little bit of extra space there. If you don't want to use that, of course, fold it up, put the clips in place and tighten it right down like so. And then it just makes it an even neater little system like that. Now on this side, open up this clip. I've got 2 nets in here, just in case you have a really good session. You've got lots of bites. It's always handy to have 2. I'll undo this clip again so I can show that this zips down halfway, opens up quite nicely. It's got a white clean interior, so it's perfect for your nets. And I've got a little Sonik Xtractor Recon net, I believe this one is. Let me double check the name in case I've got that wrong. It is indeed the Xtractor Recon. This breaks down into 2 pieces and that one retracts. So you've got a really small net breakdown and it comes together, extends into a full size net. Now we have done a dedicated video on this, so click on the pop-out banner if you're watching this on YouTube, it should be somewhere, or if you're watching this anywhere other than YouTube, which is probably most of you, then you won't be seeing any pop-out banners I'm pointing aimlessly. So check the description below and there'll be a link to that net for you there. So I'll zip that back up and clip that in place. So that's the net holder where I've put slings as well, and as I said, you've got the bits for your bank sticks, and there's also little toggles here so you can easily put some other things on the sides, and they just tighten up, drawstring, little elasticated toggles. So again, any poles and things like that, to tighten this back up so it stops flapping around. Before we get onto the inside, which of course is the main part of this, there's also a little pocket here, perfect for your leads. Now I've got about 10 leads in there at the moment. You could easily fit more. You could also use that for other essentials like bait needles and things like that. I've used this rod bag. This is now the 3rd session using this, and it's been really handy. I actually did a session fairly recently. It's hammering down with rain, and this is all I've really brought with me. And again, I knew where my leads were, I knew where my baits were, and I just carried everything nice and light. So not everything got soaked. Didn't have to bring loads of stuff. As I said, you've got a carry handle and a shoulder strap. This is fully adjustable in length, so you can also fully clip that off as well if you want to just use the carry handle. Moving on to the inside, this is what the main thing is all about, and this one is a 3-rod compartment. So I've got 3 rods in here. All these are 9-foot collapsible ones, of course, like I said, retractable rods. Padding between each one so your reels don't knock about, and I've got some fairly big reels on there. It's fit for big pit reels, so if you wanted to use, say, really the Xtractor Recon rods, for example, which pack down even smaller, you can then have really big reels, so you've got a bigger rod, cast further distance. You don't have to whittle down with your reel size. Hello, no problem. And then you've got big reels that can fit in there, not a problem. They don't bash around, they're not going to get damaged, and that's just really handy. And in here, there's also retaining Velcros, which hold the rod in place, so I can't even pull them out until I loosen them off and take them out. I also use this as a little bit of extra storage when I last went, because my reels have still got space around them. I stuffed a coat in there and all sorts, so really a lot of space. And again, another little elasticated or neoprene type pocket here on the outside. So for the size of it, as I said, this is the 9-foot version. There is so much versatility to this and how much stuff you can stick on it. Really, really impressive. Moving back to the single rod sleeve. Now, as I said, these can be picked up in either the 6-foot model, 9-foot model, or 10-foot model. So depending on obviously what size rod you've got. This is a 9-foot version. I have got some more at home, but because I was trying to travel light, I didn't bring them all with me. And this works perfectly with the 9-foot rod bag that I've got with me today. So if I wanted, I could stick a 4th rod on, which is what I did today, for example. All the same materials that you've come to see on the main rod bag, the single rod bags, the single rod sleeves and the 2 rod sleeves. Still got that lead pouch, still got retaining straps to strap things on the outside, still got the little loops to put bank sticks in there. So this is just a smaller version of these. So I really do think that a 2-rod bag and a single skin would be perfect. As I said, you could bring 2 rods to a 2-rod venue, and if you go to a 3-rod venue, you just tack that on the side and you're sorted. So very, very versatile. All of the materials are very, very well put together, very strong materials. I'm not sure of the exact spec, but all you need to know is it's hardware, and the zips are reverse zips, so there's no way of damaging your line or getting things caught on the inside. And all these toggles are hardware, and so when you're attaching them to your rod bag and they're getting knocked about, then they're not going to come apart very soon at all. So very impressive bit of kit. That's quite a lot of stuff I've brought with me today, for the fact that I only had a rod bag on and both my hands free to carry bucket and unhook him out. Obviously a bit more with camera gear, but that really is a very light setup. But I've still brought all the essentials when it comes to landing fish, caring for fish, hopefully catching the fish, and carrying all my rods and bank sticks with me there. So quite impressive, I think. So just to recap what's in the range, single rod sleeves come available in a 6 foot, 9 foot and 10 foot, and then the double rod and 3 rod are available in a 9 and 10 foot. So there isn't a 6 foot model available for the 2 and 3 rod setups. So Sonik have made it easy for you to store your gear, transport it and be mobile on the bank. The rest of it is up to you, and thankfully this one saved a blank today after a swim change, and he's still being feisty on the mat, but rewards are there. Brought barely any stuff, or well, all the essentials as I've been saying, and still plenty to still be able to get amongst them and have a bit of fun. So for more information on the range, please do head over to the Sonik website. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you're subscribed to us. Ring the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. And follow us on all the social media platforms coming up on the bottom of your screen now. But for now, that's it from me. This one's going back, and I'm heading on home. A happy man. Well, I had to have one more before I headed on. Bit of bubbling back in my original swim, and 23.4 was my reward. Really is time to go home.